welcome to the first episode of 2026. And it's also crazy to think I'm just 5 episodes away from hitting the big 400. Oh, 400 episodes. That is crazy. Okay, so quick reminder before we dive into this amazing conversation we have on accelerating your referrals, I want to remind you that we are currently accepting registrations for business owners to attend my 2-day in-person referral accelerator workshop. The dates are February 26th and 27th, and it is held in Charlotte, North Carolina. So yes, this is an in-person 2-day workshop. We are live together in a room in a small group setting with other business owners. And we will go through and build out your complete customized referral strategy. You can learn all about it, what's included, the investment, all the things you need to know about getting to and from Charlotte, and exactly everything you're going to learn when you're with me for those 2 days at staceybrownrandall.com/accelerator. Okay, for this episode, I have invited my client, Candice Frazer, to come and join me as she discusses how she accelerated her referral generation. Now, Candice attended the Referral Accelerator in the fall of 2025. So it's very great timing that she's on this episode talking about that, attending the accelerator, what it was like, and the success that she has. Because, of course, we're right now, if you're listening to this episode when it goes live, you can actually sign up to come through the same experience that Candice has. You're just going to be doing it in February of this year. So I want to just call your attention to one really cool metric that Candice was able to provide. I feel bad because I asked her to do the math like on the spot, and she was a trooper because you guys know if you're a longtime listener to this podcast or you're watching this on YouTube, I do not do public math because I almost always get the math wrong. But one of my favorite success metrics that Candice shared is her 282% return on investment, ROI, on her investment to attend the Referral Accelerator. She is going to break it down what she did before when she was just learning from me and the free resources I provide, what she did before she invested in the accelerator, what that success looked like, right? So if you're ever saying I consume all of Stacey's free content and I'm not having success, well, Candice will tell you, you may just not be implementing. So you'll listen to Candice talk about how she started implementing what she learned from my book. And then of course, attending a 3-day training I had last year. And then she'll talk through how she then made that decision to invest in attending the accelerator, how that changed everything, and how she had growth over growth, which is amazing, but increased growth quarter over quarter. And it just got better and better after she came to the Referral Accelerator. So you're going to hear her talk about all the success, but also why it was important for her to invest in her company, or as she says, bet on herself. So it's a really cool interview. I hope that you will listen to it. But real quick, just so you know who Candice is, she is the founder of AlphaRev, and she helps service firms grow revenue without adding headcount or chasing new leads. We're going to link to all the places where you can connect with her in the show notes page for this episode. But let's turn it over to Candice and let her kind of explain a little bit about the work that she does. And then we'll dive in, of course, with her attending the Referral Accelerator. So let's get to it. Candice, I am so excited for us to have this conversation today. I mean, how does it feel to be the first person on the podcast for the new year, for kicking off 2026 with me with the podcast? How's that feel?
It feels really exciting. I'm humbled and overjoyed to be here.
Well, I am thrilled that you're here. We have some fun stuff that we're about to talk about in terms of what it was like for us to work together and the type of client that I think you are, which is, of course, all good. So I'm ready to share that. But before we dive into all the things we want to talk about from a referral perspective, why don't you first, I gave your official bio when I introduced this episode, but why don't you tell the folks what we need to know and understand about your business?
Yeah, well, thank you, Stacey. I'm excited to share that with the listeners. I'm Candice Frazer, and I'm the founder of AlphaRev. AlphaRev is an organization that helps businesses with their revenue, especially when they start to stall. We like to wake up their sleeping revenue. So many businesses want to pay the Google and the Meta vending machines, At AlphaRev, we help them to avoid, not necessarily avoid it, but if you want to pay the vending machines to get more traffic coming into your business, by all means. But we want to wake up the foundation, basically the low hanging fruit for businesses to be able to harvest those opportunities and acquire new clients at a lower cost.
I love those two terms, the vending machine and the sleeping revenue areas. Like, that's great. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Okay.
And so many businesses have, think that they have to just pay these machines. And that's why I call it the vending machine. But it's not even a vending machine where you get like a really great bag of chips coming out of it. It's more like the claw machine, when you pick up the toy and you watch it drop just before it gets to that hole, you get nothing. Yeah. So it's more like the claw machine rather than the vending machine when it comes to some of these systems.
There was in our old neighborhood, there was a pizza joint that had one of those like in the waiting room, and my kids always wanted to play with it. And I was constantly saying, it's rigged. The claw is rigged. You've never won anything. It's rigged. Like, stop worrying, stop thinking about it. And they just, they couldn't help themselves.
Right. It's so tempting because it's like, look how
Yes.
big that claw is, and it could absolutely wrap around that teddy bear or that wheel or whatever it is that they want. It's very tricky. Very tricky. Maybe we should go into the business of claw vending machines. Just saying, Stacey.
But like, make it like a legit one, a real one, where every winner, every claw, you're going to win a prize. Like,
You're going to get
is
something amazing.
you're going to get something. Yes. I should maybe I will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's going to kill the profit margin, though. I think that's probably not how that machine is supposed to work.
But not serious advice. That was a joke for anybody who's listening. Yes, don't go into claw machine business unless really that is your passion.
Unless you really want to do that. I think the listeners of this podcast, unless this is like their very first episode, they'll probably be like, yeah, Stacey says stuff like that a lot that are actually jokes. Please don't take me seriously all the time. Okay. So before we then dig into some of the other things about the work that we did when you attended the Referral Accelerator and what's transpired since, I always think it's important to kind of set the stage for your business. Why are referrals so important to the point where you're willing to invest in working with me to generate more referrals in your business? What is it about referrals and the way you have your business structured that makes them so important?
Yeah, the reason why referrals are just so important to me is many, many years ago, and actually throughout my entire career, I've built my network. I've always heard the expression that your network is your net worth. And I've been building it, and I never really knew why, right? I just knew that, okay, I should connect with people. I should be able to help them and support them. And for whatever reason, that will help me at some point in the future. So I've been building that for 20 years. And then I started my own business earlier this year. So I started officially on February 1st with my first signed contract, or earlier last year, rather, February 1st of 2025. And wanted to be able to support the people that I had been meeting, but also be able to grow my business with them and help them with the people that they knew. So this seemed like a very logical place for me to begin. On top of the fact, I bootstrapped this baby, right? Like I came in and said, I'm going to fund it. And oh my gosh, how do I do that? And being able to build my business affordably with my bootstrapped resources and knowing that I had built this network over time had really made a lot of sense for me.
Yeah. And I think most of the people who listen to this podcast are in the same camp as you with bootstrapping their business. I've done it twice, right? Like, it's just kind of how, I think it depends on what type of business you're starting and like, whether you need the capital or the investments or you can bootstrap it yourself. I think, I work mostly with expert-based business owners. So we are selling our expertise, or we are whatever we're doing because we're the attorney or the financial advisor or the consultant or the business coach. It's like we're really good at something and then we decide we want to start a business to do it ourselves. And so most of them end up bootstrapping what they do. You started off on the easy side, though, I would say, because you started your business and you had a signed first contract. I think that's huge. Not everybody has the joy of starting that way. But I think it is quite awesome that you got to start that way. So I would refer to you as an ideal client for me. So let me explain what I mean by that, because I've got lots of ideal clients and sometimes they're ideal for different reasons. But an ideal client for me does two main things. And that is they take action. Like, they take action on what they're learning, what I'm teaching them, what we're doing, right? And I don't mean they have to take super fast action. You did. You took super fast action. So that's like even a higher level of ideal client. For me, it's like just take action at some point. Like that makes you an ideal client from what you're learning. And the other thing is that you trusted the process. So you're like, hey, I've invested in this. I'm going to work with Stacey and I'm going to do what she says and I'm going to trust the process. But I think it was easier for you to take really fast action and trust the process because you had been implementing what you learned from me through my free resources for months before you signed up and attended the fall 2025 referral accelerator. And I think that helped you kind of like you were, listening to the podcast, reading my books, absorbing my weekly emails, checking out the articles and the other free resources I have out there. And you really saw success just in doing that before you made the commitment to say, okay, now I'm going to pay Stacey some money and I'm going to attend the accelerator that we did last fall. So tell me a little bit about what that journey was like for you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're bringing this up because I think that there are great resources that are out there that helped me to get started. So what I actually did is I went to Amazon and I searched for referrals. I was looking for resources to help me with referrals. And that's where I came across generating business referrals without asking and
The
grabbed
OG.
that. The OG. I grabbed that. Buy now button on Amazon was my best friend and worst enemy of my wallet. But nonetheless, I purchased the book, and this was an incredible investment for me because it allowed for me to access some of the thought leadership that you had specifically around thank you notes. And building a structure to first evaluate like who are my referral sources and what does that look like. And I tried to self-implement a little bit as I was getting myself started. So I read your book, found it really impactful, started telling a lot of other people, have you read this one yet? Have you seen this one yet? And the ones who started actually reading it were like, oh, wow, that is really impactful. But then I signed up for your newsletter and got on your distribution list at the time to my personal email because I hadn't even established my domain for my business. So now I get it in two places, which is super cool. So I get to see it in both places. I think at that point, I had then joined one of your free workshops. You did like a 3-day workshop where you were outlining some of the critical components and the things to do. So that was really helpful for me too. After I'd read the book, it enhanced what I had originally saw. And even that the frameworks that you provided in the generating business referrals without asking and your newsletter and that free workshop helped me to get some traction, helped me to be able to get my first few clients. And that was all the way through, June, July period. Now, because I was on your distribution list,
Yes.
I started seeing information about the referral accelerator.
Yeah.
I went back and forth. I'm in my first year of business, right? I'm now starting to develop myself as a business owner and grow and help my clients in profound ways, but also help myself to grow. And I really went through this question of the ROI of like, okay, should I invest in this pretty significant investment in this period of time? I don't know. Should I do it? Blah, 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 back and forth. And I made the leap of faith and I bet on myself.
Yes.
Right. And I essentially said, if I've learned what I've learned through the book, through the newsletters, through the emails, the podcast, I started dialing into the podcast too. Can't forget that because there's a wealth of resources there. But decided that I was going to actually bet on myself and make an investment in myself that I knew would be able to pay off. All I would need is another signature or two, which I've since gotten, which is remarkable. That gave me that return on the investment. And I've started building, this rapport. As I mentioned, I've been, building this network because I do believe your network is your net worth in helping me to gain additional clients and be able to serve people in a more profound way. But now they're connecting with me, Stacey, in a very different way.
Yes.
So before I was kind of doing these onesie twosie things. And one of the techniques that you taught us in the Referral Accelerator workshop, I applied and started getting replies of people basically saying, oh my gosh, I need to up level it like you do. Oh my gosh, this is so brilliant. Oh my gosh, I'm so touched. And it really allows for me to stay top of mind for them so that I can continue to support them and their businesses throughout all of 26 and into 27, and onward.
Yeah.
But also allows me to find my ideal clients along the way. So it's been an incredible journey. But I think the key pivot point was I'm going to invest in myself. And I saw it as an investment and I took it seriously. You gave us homework assignments, Stacey, and I went home into my hotel room
And
that
did them.
night and I did everything that I needed to do. I might have been up until 11:30, 12, but I was going to make sure that I made the most of that opportunity. And it's paying off for my business right now.
I think when you walked in the first day of the accelerator and we're in the room and everyone's like introducing themselves to each other, I clearly and distinctly, and you said it more than once, but I clearly remember when the first thing you said was, um, I didn't come to play, I came to win.
That's
And I
right.
was like, let's go, Candice, let's get it. Yeah, okay. Like I will
That's
meet you where you are. And I'm sure everybody else in the room was like, okay, we'll get on board too because we kind of have to, right? Like
yeah.
Candice is setting the temperature of the room. Like, hey, I didn't come to play, I came to win. And winning you are, my friend, which is amazing. But I want to address this before we move on because I know everyone's going to be like, okay, so what was the success? Everyone wants the numbers, right? The data. But before we get there, I want to dig in on something that you said that I think is really critical. And it's because you started absorbing the information. Like you read the first book, then you came to the training, and that training you did was actually our spring training. We did it. We usually do it in April, right? That doesn't mean we'll do it in April this year, but we usually do it in April. Spring training. It's because I'm a baseball fan. Kind of all mixes together. It's usually done in April. So you came to that and you showed up to that. And then you continued to look at what was provided to you and just absorbing what you could from each piece and putting things into place. And I think that's a big thing that I hear from folks is that there is no lack of free information out there in the world today on any topic, right? And there is no lack of what I would refer to as very generic, watered down information on any number of topics. And so you kind of have to make sure you're deciding on like, this is what I want to learn. This is what I want for my business. So for your perspective, like I want to get better at referrals. There's lots of people that you could learn from. It doesn't have to be me. How I teach, the way I look at it, that resonated with who you are. And then you like took the time to absorb what I had available so that you could get to a place to be like, I'm betting on myself, but I'm also trusting that Stacey's the right person when I'm betting on myself. And that's why I'm going to make the investment into the accelerator. I mean, I do have people who will reach out to me and there's always these questions I get like, I don't feel like I got it all in your $20 book. And I'm like, right. Because it's a $20 book. And first of all, it's not a 400-page tome with like everything
right.
in there, right? And
Right.
but the truth is for me, it's always about can you even though take what you read in the book and implement that and see what happens there? Because if you can do that, then the motivation to do more is there for you. And that's what you saw, right? I mean, and then you have a very healthy, like, like a healthy thought process regarding like it's not all going to be for free. Clearly, there are things behind the paywall in terms of when you work with me, there's more to it. And you had a trust in that. And I think that's really important, though, for people to understand like, usually people will provide lots of free information, but people don't ever take action on it. It's like
That's
they
right.
wait, like I read it, like people will read the free information, and then they'll just wait for like magically it's going to like fill in the blanks and fill in all the gaps and the holes for you and you don't have to do anything. Like that's not how it works. So I appreciate that that was your journey, that it was like, hey, I found the book. I read it. Right. You're probably one of the very few clients I have that wasn't actually referred to me. So you're like, I found the book, I read it, and then I started implementing and you recognized that there was more to learn. So you showed up and you did more. And then you're like, okay, now I'm ready for that next level. And I think that is really critical.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is really distinctive, and for me as an entrepreneur, someone who's bootstrapping my business in my first year of business, is I was looking for a proof of concept.
Yeah.
I believed in it. I believed in the way that we can help and support one another and continue to grow our business, but I had to see. I had to try it myself. I had to do the DIY method. And I shared with you, Stacey, and I'll share with the listeners too that I created my own kind of spreadsheet that like tried to put it all together, and God, it got really huge and onerous. And, I manage my business and I manage my kind of actions using my life is in spreadsheets pretty much, but I did some of that self-implementation, started seeing success. But what eventually started to happen for me is it started to feel like a lot. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm doing this, I'm seeing this, I'm getting traction, I'm having success. But wow, this feels really like a lot. Is there a better way? And because I had seen the proof and I had the proof of concept with the DIY approach, I again decided to make that investment, really seeking, coming to win, not to play, but also looking for ways for me as an entrepreneur who's trying to grow and scale my business, bringing people along with me. Is there a more efficient way for me to be able to grow? What is the best practice? And I got that.
Right.
And I think there was one point during the accelerator where I literally slapped my hand to my forehead and sat back in my chair. I'm like, oh my gosh, you mean I don't have to do it the way that I self-implemented, that there is a better way? And I found it. And now it's scalable for me, and it's helping me to connect with people even more profoundly. And I have a coach in my corner, right? I think it's worth also sharing that I had a few things where they were a little bumpy. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do here? And the fact that I had gone to the accelerator, had decided to invest in that and take that action. But then I also had you in my corner to help guide me and show me the way and tell me that it was okay, that it didn't, that it was okay, and navigate through that with me helped to build my confidence thereafter. So the journey for me was absolutely necessary. But again, it came back to that action, the proof of concept, the figuring out how to make it more efficient, and then having you as a coach in my corner to really, quite frankly, accelerate it. So it's a perfect name for the program, because to accelerate those referrals. Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Very well named.
You mentioned that moment where you like sat back. I mean, I remember this moment perfectly, where you like slapped your hand to your forehead and sat back. I have a picture of that moment. Like, I don't remember why I was taking a picture at that moment, but I have that picture. I may have to put on the show notes page just for people to be like,
I think it would be a good idea. I'm okay with that. Yes, you have my approval to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that may be the picture we put with the post for this episode on social media. Like, what was this moment for Candice? They'll have to listen to the episode to get the whole point. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay. So let's not make people wait, because I know they're going to want to be like, okay, so what did some of those results look like? So let me frame this for everybody. Candice started her business in February of 2025, right? So we're going to talk about what happened from February of 25 through almost the end of the year, so December of 2025. So we're looking at 11 months. Right before she started her business, she had gotten the book. A couple of months into her business started, that's when she came in April to the spring training. And the accelerator that she attended in Charlotte in person with me was in September. So I just want to put that in context for folks as you just kind of talk about, because you have some great numbers to share in terms of the number of referrals that you received, and what those percentages actually looked like for you from an ROI perspective. So why don't you give us the good news about your results?
Yeah. So the really great news, and I'll just start right with referrals. The total referral count that I received this year was 15. So those are active referral sources who are referring business to me.
Yep.
And those active referral sources have provided about 88% of my total income for the year. So just 12% of my income came from a non-referral source. 88% did, which means that I was able to close them faster. It means that I was able to basically get them to a higher, kind of a higher number, a higher investment, because I understood their business well. And it also means that I had to spend less on the cost of acquisition for those clients. So it's phenomenal. And then overall for my business performance, I set a really aggressive growth target for myself this year, and I surpassed that by about 30%. So overall, I'm having a really great year, largely because of the referral framework that I DIY'd in the first half of the year. But if I can also add in a little bit of color commentary too, that between second and third quarter and then into fourth, I saw between my second and third quarter, using the framework, Stacey, that you shared, and that you share with the world, I was able to increase my income 138% quarter
Nice.
over quarter. And then still even with that jump, still increased it in the fourth quarter by another 32%. So the momentum continued to build on itself, and I saw growth quarter over quarter.
Which is fabulous. And 2025 was kind of a tough year for a lot of businesses, right? Not every business, right? I mean, I have some clients that would have loved to have had some of the growth that you had, but a lot of clients who had been having that type of growth. But then this year is the first year they saw like a slowdown in their business overall. And then, of course, if your business slows down, usually typically your referrals slow down as well. Like, referrals aren't immune to what's happening in the economy or what's happening in the
Yeah.
world. But I love that it being the year that it was and it being your first year, it was like you were able to overcome that because you put in the work and had that framework. And then you invested in the accelerator and got to keep that growth going. And the cool thing is now that we're in like 2026, I get to keep working with you because you have come into what I effectively call our maintenance program or our extension program. Like once you finished your 90 days in the accelerator, or any of my programs, once you finish your 1 year with me, you can come into the referral master's program where I keep getting be available to you. I keep getting to help you. So I can't wait to see what you do in 2026. So I know your numbers, and we're not talking about some of those numbers, but I know them. But I can't do math in my head. If you think about the amount of revenue you made from referrals versus the investment you made in the accelerator, can you figure out in your head what the ROI is on that
Uh,
investment?
yes, I
I can't.
can.
Like, I'm like,
Uh,
I'm not even gonna try because I
yeah.
can't do public math. But maybe
So
you can.
yeah, that would be 282%, 282% return on my investment.
Yeah, right. Perfect.
282%.
Percent,
So
baby.
yes,
Good.
yes. So
It's a
it's
couple
huge,
100%. Yeah, it's
huge.
massive. And you're
It's
right, because
huge.
you said earlier, it felt like when you were deciding to say yes to come to the accelerator, it felt like an significant investment. But now you're probably looking at it and being like, well, that's a drop in the bucket compared to actually what I made and what that
Yes.
return on investment is, which is awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've had 90 days with it in terms of the accelerator. Now you're moving into your second year of business. You're going to still be with me for the next year as part of the Referral Masters program. You have these referral processes in place. You have strategies deployed. You know what to say in situations. You've got language tactics, all the things. And you'll keep getting better at it, right? You'll keep adding some of the things as you move forward. But when you think about the future with your business and when it comes to referrals, like what are you most hopeful about for the future?
Yeah, I'm very optimistic that I'm going to be able to continue to serve people and do so profoundly. Even though I had received 15 different referrals, just in the last week and a half I got my first client referral, which was really
Woo!
interesting. So you didn't even have that information
I did
before.
not. Love it. Okay,
Um,
wait. So let me pause here for a second. Let me define this for anybody who may be like brand new in this world. So, right, the idea is that you can get referrals from a couple of different sources of referral sources, a couple of different types. One of those being centers of influence, which was most of what Candice had been receiving, was getting referrals by people who had not been a client of her, but they knew what she did and they were able to refer her. We also want to make sure we have our clients referring to us, which I think is amazing because Candace actually is a referral. You're a referral source to me, right? Like you signed up to come to the accelerator and then you brought Trisha along. So like that was a great referral right there for a brand new client. And I love now that your client, from what I understanding, gave you your first referral. So a client gave you a referral. So how did that feel?
oh my gosh, it was surprising, like happy cry surprising. It was reinforcing the both the work that I did and was doing for them, and it helped me to understand. Okay, this is not only possible, but it's probable if I put the right measures in place, which I had learned to do during the referral accelerator to essentially have my clients having a remarkable experience with me so that they would tell others. So to answer your question, the thing that I'm most excited about in 2026 is mapping out my client journey and
Mhm.
intentionally planting seeds at meaningful places so that I can now start to essentially have an exponential effect and work with even more clients through me and my team, and create an intentional referral system so that they can help their friends, they can help their colleagues with their sleeping revenue as well with AlphaRev. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most, and continuing to build on what we've already built. But the client piece is really, that's going to be the gratification for me at the end of 2026.
So here's the thing, people don't really talk about that much with referrals, but once you hear it, you're like, of course, it makes perfect sense. And I think it's because getting clients that say yes to working with us and then having success and getting testimonials, it hits you in the heart, and it is super, super like amazing and awesome. But there's something even greater than the client who says they love working with you. And it's the client who puts their reputation on the line and refers someone else to you. Because I think referrals speak to that thing we don't really talk about, we don't really admit. But when we're in business, we're constantly saying, like, am I worth it? Am I valuable? Do people need me? And clients giving you money feeds a little bit of that. Okay, I'm valuable. But a client telling somebody else to give you money feeds that, am I valuable? Am I worth it? Am I doing great work, on a whole another level? And it's an incredible feeling. And I love that you got your first one, and you got it within your first year, because you deserve dozens and dozens and dozens more. But like that first one, there's nothing quite like it. I remember mine when I started this business. My first 3 clients, it was my first client referred me my 4th client. And I'll never forget it. I was like, oh, and this is before I had learned all the things that I taught you at the Accelerator, right? Like, this was when I was just like figuring out that there was a world of referrals without asking. And I was like, oh my God, this is the most amazing feeling. How do I keep duplicating it? It's almost even better than the client saying yes, is when the client says to somebody else, you need to work with her. So
Yeah.
kudos.
And it just, it accelerates everything so fast. So that when I got that referral, I was on the phone with the prospect the next day. And then I was on the phone with his business partner the day after that. And now I'm meeting with his team next week. It's remarkable how quickly it can go. And it's almost like I want to mentally frame it. Like, in some retail establishments, they have the dollar bill, the first dollar that they made, and it's a dollar bill that's framed. I almost want to have my first client referral framed on my wall next to me to remind me that, yes, I'm worthy. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I'm providing value. And it's meaningful for them. It really is.
Yeah, I love that. Okay. So I wrap up all of the interviews by asking 2 final questions. And so here's the first one for you. What would you say to someone that you were referring to me to attend the Referral Accelerator about why they should make the investment?
I think I would lead with the 282% ROI for anyone that I'm talking with. I made, and that is all in, right? That's the Referral Accelerator. That's the book. That's not my time though. That's not, those things that, like, you really have to put effort and energy into it. But I think what I would tell someone is, I got a 282% return on this in my first, 11, 12 months of business. And it helped me to basically stay independent, to be able to help other businesses with my unique approach to growing their revenue, because I was able to sustain myself and do so affordably. And I would just highly recommend it, as I have been. So hopefully I have some friends and colleagues, quick shout out to my founder community members that I know will tune into this as well, because I've been telling them, about the framework and the things that I've been using here. But a 282% return on my investment inside of my first year is something that I think is rather unheard of, and very doable for anybody else that wants to, come to win.
Yeah, come to win, not to play. Yeah. And for any of those folks that you were just giving a shout out to, if they had interest in the Accelerator, the next one's in February. So we're doing it again. We do it a couple times a year. So hopefully we'll see some fresh
They
faces.
should be there.
Yes, we'll
Yes,
see some fresh faces in the room.
They should be there. And if they haven't yet read the book or listened to the podcast, another great place to start. But if they're ready to bet on themselves, to really take their business seriously, this is one of the best places, if not the best place to start.
I love that. That is so awesome. Okay. So I am sure, though, as you've been talking all about referrals and working with me, people are very interested. But I am guessing there's also some people listening being like, maybe she could help me with some of those sleeping revenue areas in my business. So why don't you share where folks can find you? And we'll put all these links in the show note page for this episode. But why don't you go ahead and share where folks can find you?
Absolutely. They can find me on LinkedIn. So that's Candice Flandrau Frazer, Flandrau is the middle name, unique in French. And then they could also email me at any point. That's Candice, Candice, Candice with an I, and that's Candice F at getalpharev.com.
Awesome. And we'll link to your website and all that stuff so they can find all that information out about you. That is awesome. We'll put it in the show notes page for this episode. And the show notes page for this episode is staceybrownrandall.com/395. It is nuts to think I am 5 episodes away from hitting 400. Like, holy cow. Here we go. Another year, hopefully, of great informative content. But Candice, thank you for being here for this episode. I appreciate you. And I love the fact that I get to call you a client.
I love being mentored by you. So thank you, Stacey, for helping me in my business.
That was so good. I really appreciated her willingness to be so open and honest. And I was able to find that picture that she was talking about. We mentioned it. I told her I knew I had it, but the palm to the forehead moment that she had, we're going to post that on social media as a part of this episode. So you'll have to go check it out on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram on our accounts, and you'll see the picture we're talking about. But she had so much to share, and I really appreciated the time she took. So I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Candice as well. And please look at the links on this show notes page for this episode and check out how you can connect with her and learn more about her if you are interested. Plus, of course, on the show notes page, you can access the transcripts for this episode, plus the link to attend the Referral Accelerator if that has caught your attention. And now you're thinking that's something you need to do this year. Registration will close in a couple of weeks if we don't sell out in advance. So please make sure you go check that out. And all of these links can be found on the show notes page for this episode, which is staceybrownrandall.com/395. All right. Well, thanks for making it to the end. Until next week, take control of your referrals and build a referable business. Bye for now.